Okay, it works. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the little the effective lateness on the race, on the qualifying. Apparently OBS was giving me some troubles. Not exactly sure why, but now I have everything okay, I can't even speak anymore. But anyway, here is the race. Firstly, I admit the mistake, the worst possible time. But anyway, for now we are here for your 30 minutes of qualifying. It's going to be GT4 and then GT3. And it's fully Italian mode, as you have an Italian commentator doing commentating an Italian race. I just hope that everything is now smooth, which is something I'm not completely safe about. I was having some troubles, as I said, with OBS, mainly because it wasn't really giving me a real control on everything. It's basically, the update I did yesterday probably just ruined a couple of things, but now I'm here, and we haven't missed any kind of action, except me forgetting to put this thing here correctly. I think this is good. Not this one here. Okay. Everything is under control. It's going to be 6 hours of racing, so it's not really the end of the world to have missed a couple of minutes. At least for me, in my opinion. But anyway, I hope you will have a beautiful afternoon, because it's going to be 3 hours with me and 3 hours with James doing commentary. For now we are with the GT4s on the Ascari, a bit too aggressive there for Marlon Wenzel. For me, something that I am aware of is the fact that we can't see the team names, but I will provide you with them in a bit of a manual way. As Bivert is the first, I thought it was Wenzel. It is Bivert, the first one to put a lap. Then Gergely goes in first, with then Wenzel in third. In GT4 I'm not really expecting an exact time. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 56 or even a 55. But there has been a GT4 BOP update, so I have no clue which are the times to look at. Obviously, whenever you want to just go on chat and ask whatever you want to ask, considering that I'm a driver, I can provide you with something. I don't know, anything that you may have in mind. You can also jump in Discord, because there's going to be 6 hours of racing. So if you want to join as an in an interview, you probably can. I'm not really against that. Just tell me in advance, because you can just jump in and hope for the best. I have to prepare myself in case there is some kind of overtake situation ongoing. But anyway, as I was saying, you can easily come chat with, at least with me, with anything, even because I will be driving in the last 2 hours in the almighty Mercedes. But that's something that will be held for later. Obviously the liveries are all synced, and they have been synced literally during free practice in the last 5 minutes. So if you can't see your livery, that's on you. Simply as that. As Bivert goes in first, I was trying to take my... where is it? My entry list, where I have all the numbers and everything. Teams, here it is. So for now the 213 for the Mission Spino is in first, but oh no, Pitikainen, I think I said it correctly. Pitikainen in the 728, we were looking at him earlier on in the Mercedes, in this green Mercedes here in the 728, is now in pole position for the GT4 standings. The sim grid is something that I hate about sim grid is the fact that I can't really have an easy way to look at it. It has to be said that currently the number 728 is a solo driver. There are a couple of them. I'm seeing some teams in GT4 that are alone. I'm not really seeing anyone in GT3. No, okay, I'm seeing someone in GT3. There are more than someone. There are a couple of teams, maybe more, that are running solo. It's 6 hours of racing, so it is perfectly doable if you have the strength. Gergely went in third. But why I'm looking at him now? Because he is currently going definitely faster than what he did until now. And so he is possibly going for pole. As you can see from the left side of your screen, you have all the information that you need. Except the timing gap, that one is quite useless at this moment, but I can't get rid of it. You have the gap from pole, and you have the gap from their personal best. You can see the green one is currently going in the 200 flow of events, and Salzburg Gergely goes in pole position in the number 200. For the GT4 it's a bit easier to find the drivers, considering that there are way less. There is a KTM, brave choice. Even if the KTM is actually fast, it's just that it is hugely underrated. It's a very nice, it's a very nice car. I drove it. It was something I have the best fun in my life in this car, mostly because it's stupid. It's a stupid car that doesn't work with anything. It just exists, and you exist with it. But in Monza, it was fast. I remember it was very fast. Against every single possible and provision, it was actually fast. Unfortunately, person is not showing it right now. 3 seconds off the pole. As I'm seeing, hi Alex. Someone jumping on while they wait for the GT3, for their GT3 qualifying. Literally, considering that Alex is going to run in the 331 Lamborghini. How is it that every time I look at someone, that someone destroys his time? I was looking at Bivert, who was making a very good effort to put it on pole, but unfortunately everything went into pieces. The second I went look at him, it doesn't seem the same for PT1, as the Finnish driver was improving a bit prior to me saying it. It is the 20 minutes to go, so it means it's easy. I can't speak anymore. It is now GT3 time, and quite funny to see the fact that I'm seeing my name on on the race control. I think there is something wrong with the race control because I'm here. Unless everything broke. But anyway, it is Swelsen still improving his time in the GT4. He may as well go in 7th with the Porsche, in the team number 33. There's also Persson improving a lot. You can see the minimap getting full of drivers. It's going to be 49 drivers. No, 47 now. I'm sure there were 2 more when I was doing free practice. I'm sure there were 2 more. I'm not crazy. As Persson goes, in fact, in the 49 car, he goes in 8th, when Swelsen doesn't complete his qualifying lap. GT4 qualifying is effectively over, so we go looking at someone completely random, obviously, the number 40. Haha, I'm very funny, I know. I'm the funniest guy currently alive. No, I want to go with the first one on track, which I'm completely not sure who that was. It is a 738. So it is Alan Brown in the 738 FRL BMW, who is going to be the first driver to put a lap. Unfortunately, you can see from the minimap it's going to be traffic up ahead. A lot of traffic, to be honest. It's possibly the most traffic you can see. No, it's not. There are worse cases. Who am I looking at? I'm very sure. Oh no, okay. No, I was thinking about something else. I'm not crazy. Not that much, at least. I'm looking at someone. Obviously, it's Monza, so you want to stay as much in close proximity to the car in front as possible. But you can see there, it is an Aston Martin. It's number 23, currently drove by Salazar, who is going to have a terrible lap because he didn't take a good enough gap to the car in front, and now he was going faster but had to basically abort his lap, and it will be all everything will be postponed to the lap after this one here. It's still a bunker lap, and it's still 16 minutes to go, so they have plenty of time to make it, as the 738 is already off track in the Ascari. So tires are already done for the FRL team. And at this point I will go to the 23 car, which is going to set the first lap, even if it's not going to be a very good one. So at this point I'm not really sure who to look at. And oops. As Aleman is effectively the first driver to put it on pole, Ratiani goes in first in the 29 Honda. Vilazzi goes in third for the Flat House Sim Racing. Van Kollenburg behind, 369 Dutch driver. Sakeki goes in fourth, plus 1 second for now. Davis in number 100 in 6th place. Because this one here was mainly a bunker lap, so don't expect these to be the final laps, even because it depends also on the cars that were in front, traffic being encountered, gravel being picked up, simple mistake, cold tires. There are a huge number of variations that have to be taken into account. Lobster goes. There is a Lexus. Something that it's quite rare to see. Casillo goes in fourth, and Marchi sets the fastest lap into a 47.5. The BMW number 6 for the Flat Sim Racing. So apparently there are 2 BMW for the Flat Sim Racing which don't have the right livery, because I don't think that's the correct livery. I'm quite sure it's missing the decals, but not the base. So it's a bit odd, this one here. Someone there missed one of the images. Just one of the two. The decals. No, it's the sponsor one. Marco Kelly went in third in the Lamborghini number 5. As Benjamin Eck for the 331 ERS went in 7th. A very nice livery. I'm trying to see someone. Oh, Sakeki went in 2nd place with the Mercedes number 40. I wasn't looking at him. And he went just 78 milliseconds off pole. An astonishing qualifying for now. Ratiani is also going very quick. 130 milliseconds on his time. Unfortunately, there are a lot of cars, so it's going to be difficult to take exactly who is going to improve. For now, I think I will go here with Marco Chedi, as he is currently going very fast. Not enough for pole. Adesso Lambo take over. What is the temps? It's 19 degrees track, 26 air temperature. No, the opposite. 19 air temperature, 26 track temperature. 27. I missed by 1. Damn. I'm terrible. Washed commentator. Anyway, Marco Cady is now going very quick, but not enough for a huge improvement. He goes in 6th in the number 5 Lamborghini. Next car crossing the line is going to be Ilya Ratiani in the 29. No, he will not. Okay, I'm not so sure why. Currently number 40. Very much on the edge, way too much, as he was improving a bit, and unfortunately everything went into pieces. Rai Cooper went in 4th while we were looking at the Lamborghini number 5, being now overtaken by the 305 for the EOS team. You can see Marco Barbieri here in the 305 EOS eSport Racing Team. Marquez seems to be definitely not struggling. He seems to... How dare you have a life? He doesn't seem to be struggling. He's about to improve his lap time. There is just Parabolica in front of him. And unless he completely destroys his lap in a matter of seconds, it's going to improve the lap for the Flathouse Sim Racing. And it's another pole position lap. And it's another improvement. It's a 47.3 for the Italian driver and team lineup. There are still 10 minutes to go in qualifying, so plenty of time to improve, plenty of time to make your time, plenty of time to, I don't know, ruin it, because there's also a possibility. Marco Barbieri, 305 car, he seems to be improving on his lap time. For now, a 10th would have put him in 5th, but unfortunately everything went again into pieces in Parabolica, and he goes into the pit for simply to test the braking zone. I was looking at the number 5, Marco Cady, who was improving his time, but I think Horvath from out of nowhere, he puts the number 80 BMW in 2nd place, just a little below the 2 temps gap. Number 80, which is drove by the team, the GTR Masters, and this BMW here. And the Hungarian is also improving again. He may be doing it. He's still at mid-track, and he's definitely 100% going to put it on pole with his pace. There is also Ratiani. You can see the 2 cars, one after the other, that are basically racing each other for pole. Quite interesting to see that Horvath doesn't have a single purple sector. Marchi has the 3rd, Sakeki has the 2nd, and Ratiani has the 1st. But maybe everything will be put into discussion. Oh, I think Ratiani made a mistake. That's definitely a mistake. That's definitely the grass, that's definitely the gravel, that's definitely the curb, that's everything in between. And the number 5 goes in 3rd place. So Marco Cady, the Swiss driver for the ERS per FRL team, goes in 3rd, just a little more than 250 milliseconds. Oh, so we'll go back with Horvath, as the number 80 is... I think he lost just a tiny bit on Parabolica, but it's not going to be enough to lose the pole position, and thus he goes into the lead of qualifying at 47.2, and he sets another bar that has to be overtaken. Another lap time that I'm quite interested about is Allemann. Gilles Allemann in the 202 Mission Spino car. Seems to be having some troubles in the Mercedes. for now. He is in 9th, 6 times away from pole. As Lovering goes in the 52 into 11th place. Okay, apparently Aleman just proves... no, okay, it doesn't. And in fact, he completes his current stint. Benjamin Eck goes in 12th. No, it's not. Oh, no, it's Medaille that goes in 15th. I think that's the Italian job car. It is indeed. Rattiani is currently setting a very high pace. But I'm looking at another car. But for now, we'll stay here. With Ilya Rattiani, 29 Honda. Very quick into Ascari. Very quick. And I think the bar that was set earlier on is going to have another jump higher as he goes extremely fast and puts himself into pole position, 47.0. We are nearly into the 46 time, which will be astonishing to say the least. This mark is going very quick on Lesmo 1. It goes pretty wide there. Some time being lost, possibly. Sakeki utilizes everything, maybe even too much. Unfortunately, that means that his lap will not be validated. Svilati in number 4 is already 1/10 quicker. There's also Casillo, because he's not Spanish, he's Italian. For the Flathouse Sim Racing number 8. Sister car currently in 3rd place and 7th place. If I think I want to go... Not exactly sure where. There are 38 GT3 cars and just 10 GT4. So it's going to be a quite interesting endurance race, in my personal opinion. As Oberyn, other mission spin car, went in 12th place, just lower than 1 second away from pole. Continue number 4, still improving a bit. There's also Casillo improving, 1/10, 1.5 and he goes ahead of the sister car. Sister car, just by name, considering it's a completely different car. The only thing that is the same is the team. So for now the Audi will not improve. Or if it will, no, definitely not an improvement. With 5 minutes to go, there is still a couple of laps to be made. Rai Cooper 253 Honda. For the Red Kings Motorsport. And apparently the improvement that was happening is gone. So we'll go back with Mattia Marchi in the number 6 Flathouse Sim Racing car, who is currently passing a very interesting lap. And I think it's possible a 2nd place or even a pole lap, but a pole lap would be synonym of 46. But I don't think it will happen. No, it definitely will not happen. With a little mistake on Parabolica, a 10th has been lost, and this puts him in 2nd at the very least, so... row number 1 for the Italian lineup. Obviously, as always, tell me if everything is okay, or not, in terms of audio, video, and etc, and etc. The 52, Skyler Lovernick, the driver from the Freedom Country. I can't make it, it's stronger than me. For the Bricks Racing, put himself in 6th place, just behind the other Mercedes driver. Literally, one after the other. Obviously, because this is going to be 6 hours, we will have the night time, and I'm really looking forward to it because I love racing into night time, and I think it's the beauty of this game, and it's honestly wasted to not race in such beautiful conditions. Marco Barbieri is going a bit quicker than himself, and he puts himself in 9th place. Marco Barbieri 3:05 EOS Esports Racing. Lattiani, I don't think he will post another lap, considering how little time it's remaining. Mattia Marchi in the number 6 is improving. Is improving a tiny bit, a very tiny bit. And in fact I don't think it will be an improvement of any kind. 207 is the milliseconds of difference between Horvath and Rattiani. As Midawi goes faster in the Honda, but not in terms of position. Cavaterra may go a bit quicker. He's currently 1.1 seconds away from pole. And it's possible to be posting a good enough lap time to at least having one position higher in the starting grid. It is in fact the situation there, as he goes in 13th for the, I think it's the ETJ lineup. Speaking of improvement, it's a missing spinol number 202 that is currently setting a very good standard. Even if the second said it, he went a bit wide and lost some time. There's also Villazzi going for the last lap. There is no one improving a lot, at the very least. There is Verus going very quick, 4 times quicker in the 77 lineup, and he goes in 19th place and ends his qualifying session. So that's it for the number 77 in 19th place. I think I want to go here because Marchi is improving a lot in just the first chicane. So it was the Rubber Ducky Racing in 19th place. I think we will start to see the cars getting lower and lower in track. There are still a couple of spots up to be grabbed. I think that's Benjamin Eck going off track in the 331 ERS Lamborghini. Cavaterra goes into the pits. Marchi goes a bit wide onto the grass. Remember that we are currently... Oh, that's a lot of grass. In fact, it's some time being lost by the Italian driver. But he's still improving. He lost a 10th. But it's still possible to post a good lap. But will it be enough for improvement? Or better, will it be enough to protect from Horvath? Okay, it will definitely be enough because Horvath doesn't make it into P2. And Marchi completes qualifying. So this just leaves Volkov with... No, there is also Brown going to improve for the FRL team. And they go in 21st, with Volkov being the last one on track to be posting a lap and an improvement, and they go in 14th place. So 13th place for the 149 lineup. So this leaves effectively Ratiani in the 29. Oops, in the 29. Okay, the 29 lineup. 29. So number 29 is. I tell the Monster Energy team. I wonder if they are partnered with them or just a name. But by the way, I think, and then there is Flathouse Sim Racing, number 6, with Orvaf in number 80. Number 80, sitting just behind the on the first place for the GTR Masters. Then there is the ERS per FRL Lamborghini with me, with me in the why I'm okay. Okay, yes, it's because the game registered the first driver that joined, so apparently I'm driving. Thank you, Christoph. I think no, it's Terence going to drive the first hour. Skyler Lovrenik from the United States, and then there is Ray Cooper in the 253 Red Kings Motorsport with Matteo Pittaccio in the number 8 Flathouse Sim Racing. Okay, effectively at this point it's stupid to say the names of the drivers, because as you can see, they are wrong. So we have the number 8 Flathouse Sim Racing, 305 EOS Esport, number 4 Flathouse Sim Racing, Sergio Osorio in the ERS Lamborghini, Sergio Osorio or whoever is going to start, Aleman in the Mission Spino Mercedes, Volkov in the... I couldn't remember this one. That's on me. Crazy Life Sim Racing team. It is Cavaterra in the Italian job, Shaber in the second Mission Spino, and then all the other drivers. There are a lot of them, so I think I will go for the GT4 teams, as there is the 200. It's not showing me the GT4s. Huh? Ah, that's why there are two different. Thank you, Sim. For SSTK, he's driving alone currently. And then there is the 728, again another solo driver that is currently in no car. Okay, no, Team Hive Mind, but it's going to be solo. And then Beavert, it's in P3, number 213 for the Mission Spino Racing. The other Aston, there is Wenzel in the 187 that is going to compete for the TMT Motorsport with Fernandez in the number 3. Completed your top 5 for the GT4 lineup for the Vacuum Racing in GT4. KTM not last, so that's my pick of the afternoon. So I will shout my pick every time I say it in pure record style. Unfortunately, this means that I have bad news for the KTM. Usually my pick explodes. But anyway, it's going to be 6 hours of racing. After the first round that had 9 hours, it's going to be 6 hours of racing, plenty of action. I will try to stay as calm as possible. I don't promise anything. I will try to be as slow as possible and as fluent as possible. Obviously, I think for every newcomer here, I think you notice that I'm not British by myself. I think I have to put this one here, nationality, and then position delta. Okay, now it's better. And I also have to put this one here. Maybe I can do it. Can I? Can I? Incident response. Because yes, technology gives us the chance to go here and then to go here and then to put me here. No, this one is completely wrong, no. Where is it? Aha. Okay, it works. So yes, that's very little. That's very tiny. Can you give me... Okay, thank you, OBS, for being collaborative. So you can see there, it's the ticket outcome for every decision taken. I know the HUD is a bit full at the moment, but I think it's the right way to make things, I think, and I'm obviously open to any critique, but as I was saying, for every newcomer, I'm not British by main language, so apologies if I make any mistake, or if I start to stutter, or if I explode for a reason or another. And this also means that I will take all the Italian surnames and say them correctly. Obviously, I hope you will have, all of you, a good time racing. As always, we go with the tradition, so car in 4th place, helicam, and we just wait for the start of the race. It's currently showing me Terence Keenan in 4th, but I'm not really sure why, because it's Marco Chedi, the car in 4th place. So everyone is currently setting up side by side. We have Honda, BMW, Mercedes, no, BMW, Lamborghini, then Mercedes, Honda, BMW, Lamborghini, Audi. So good top 10 of different cars, but we are nearly there for the start of the race. In a couple of seconds. And it's green light, and away we go with a start of 6 hours of Monza, second round of the Endurance Championship, with already Mattia Marchi setting himself in the middle of the way, with Marco Chedi defending as much as possible. I think it ends... Oh, that's definitely it is the American driver going a bit wide, more than a bit. Some contact between the Honda Red King Motorsport and the Eclipse Racing Esport driver, but I'm trying to follow Lovernik, losing several spots from the start of the race. He went by avoiding the cars in front. There is Marco Chedi currently in 3rd place. Oh, there is the Red King Motorsport Honda trying an attack on the BMW. He makes it, and he does the overtake without any trouble. And now leaves the BMW into the orange Mercedes attack position. It doesn't happen anything, so Marco Chedi is now in 3rd with Ray Cooper in 4th place for the Red Kings Motorsport. Graziani is effectively the leader of the race with already half a second and a tiny more from Mattia Marchi. This is Marco Chedi, a Swiss driver, ahead of Ray Cooper in the Red King Motorsport Honda. And there is the 80. The 80 that is maybe trying an attack on the GTR Masters Honda, on the GTR Master BMW. That is trying an attack on the 253 Honda, protecting the inside. For now, nothing happens. Meanwhile, in the GT4... Oh, I think there is an overtake there. That's a BMW making it on the inside. And there is the Mercedes just behind. Maybe trying a possible attack. But the Honda is extremely powerful on the straight. The Mercedes is also very powerful on the straight. It's going to be free wide into turn 1. So one of them will have to stay behind. There is the Lamborghini going completely offside. Oh, contact with the Mercedes and the BMW. The Mercedes and the BMW having some contact in turn 1 with American driver that will stay behind the other two drivers. And there is the Lamborghini that clearly had an illegal overtake by jumping a couple of cars. But I think the... Oh, there is a final shunt for the Lamborghini there. It was the 305 and it's Horvath going wide. So this puts the Eclipse Racing Esports in front. And there has been a huge incident there. And there's also been a mistake by Ratiani. Somewhere around. As now Mattia Marchi is in the lead of the race. Apologies for not having following everything. I just there is too much ongoing, and unfortunately I also lost the change of lead. That's on me. That's completely on me. I try to say sorry for it. As you can see, the Lamborghini, it's definitely trying. Oh, that's a BMW off. That's Horvath off again. More contact between Wilk in the 21 car and Horvath having another contact. And now there is too many cars in the single frame. You can see the amount of cars that are following one another. There is Toscano that is possibly trying the overtake on Jerry Ramadan. But it is instead the BMW FRL. So Brown overtakes Toscano, but it's going to be Horvath in the 80 trying a couple of overtakes. So we go free wide into the main start-finish line, with the Mercedes having clearly the jump on the gun because it is just faster, with Horvath that has to stay behind the American driver. So major incident at the beginning of the race. We will go back into the lead because Ratiani this time is making the overtake and is going to another plan of existence. He makes the overtake, but I think he will have to give the position back to Marchi. So a lot of incidents for a 6-hour race. The very beginning, it's been huge. They are going currently side by side into the first chicane. Into the second chicane, sorry. It is Luke Barnard that was going side by side. There is also Horvath still trying a possible move on the American driver. And I want to see the start back again because that was definitely a lot of incident between the 21 and every other car. And my race control is full of names. It's just full. I want to see the incident back with the 21 and the 80 though. And the 80 and the 40. Maybe I have a couple of seconds of gap to play with the replays. Just maybe. Not entirely sure about that. Maybe I can. So we'll go back to see what happened between the 80 and the 40. This situation here. So you can see there is the Jaguar going completely out. And there is a very odd incident by the 80 car there. As Marco Cady is very close up in front, but I also want to see the main one, so the 21 and the 80 having definitely some contact. You can see the 21 going off and then completely goes into the number 80 side. But we will go back in front as number 5 is effectively putting pressure on the first drivers, not only rhetorically, he also posted the fastest lap of the entire race. So I'm already seeing the Discord. Not really happy. So there is already an incident. 738 receives 3 points plus 15 seconds time penalty for an incident with the car number 747. So we have already the first penalty of the afternoon. And it is 738 7. Okay, I already forgot the numbers. I said them 2 seconds ago. How is it possible by my side? Anyway, we'll go back here because Aleman is currently applying a lot of pressure on the Irish driver, currently defending the inside. Mattia Marchi goes fastest, 48.0. But the 202 Mission Spino is applying a lot of pressure on the Eclipse Racing Esports Mercedes. By the way, no, it came a couple of minutes ago, that one I was saying about. So it's not from yesterday. Some more ongoing overtakes here. It's Villazzi and Lovernik making a bit of a fight for position there. And there is Orfaf very close to the American in front of him. So as I was saying, oh no, it's from, okay, so yes, it's from yesterday, it just popped out now. And that's the confusion with the numbers. So apparently it's a yesterday's ticket, it's just that it has been submitted now. Not really sure about that, don't do it. We'll go back in GT4 because it's a bit of a fight ongoing for position number 4, with Wilson Fernandez going side by side with the Porsche, and the number 3 has to stay behind. We'll go back to 11th place overall. The GT3 challenge, it's Cavaterra and Villazzi having some fight for the 10th place. And I'm also seeing here it's Aleman in the Mission Spino car and the ERS driver that has to give the position. Oh, he tries the cutback! He tries the switchback. Oh, there's a push! And I think the 202 will be put off track. So there's some contact with the orange car. That's Cavaterra losing 2 positions while we were looking at the fight ongoing there. And it's side by side into turn 1. There are 2 different side by side with Volkov making the position there, and Lovernik and Villazzi maybe having some contact on turn 1. They don't, and there is some contact definitely with Villazzi that pushes the car in front. So I guess it's going to be a penalty for the number 40, considering the 202 is now in 14th place. So I expect a 10-second penalty for Keenan, at the very least. The 52 is really slowing everyone down. There is now 5 seconds of difference between him and the ERS Mercedes in front. And there is Orvaf very close to the ETJ car with Wilk that wants to make the overtake back. Clearly the 80 will have a lot to say about it if any moves happens to be happening. Is Cavaterra going a bit slower in Ascari? The BMW is clearly a bit faster. The gravel really doesn't help too, and so it puts the GTR Master BMW in a bit of a optimum position. But it is Wilk making the overtake. Possibly the damage on the BMW is very, it's high enough to slow them down. There is Wilk going side by side. Oh, there is also some overtake going on here. I think Cooper is going to put it into 3rd place. And I think the back market there is the reason why there is a yellow little arrow into KD's side. So I guess it's already some back marker discussion. There's possibly a position being lost by the Lamborghini lineup, with Cooper now in 3rd for the Red Kings Motorsport. There's been 6 seconds of... Okay, no, I have to see it, what happened back. 365 and number 5. It's multiple contacts it has been. So we have the first one here with a 365 that closes the door and put the Lamborghini in a bit of a difficult position, and it pushes him even off the road. And then there is a second one, as we see a possible move by the number 5. I want to see the second one very quickly. Oh no, the second one is this one here. So possibly some clearly angriness being shown. So I think that's definitely the number 365 that will have to say something to the stewards because of the situation that has been posed there. Meanwhile, it's a 202 Mission Spino Mercedes making the overtake on Cavaterra in 11th place. On the inside into Parabolica. And then there is also Marco Chedi in 4th place, trying to make the overtake for 3rd back. But seems like the Honda for the Red Kings Motorsport is definitely finding themselves in a very good position. And then I want to go back to Cavaterra's point of view, because the Italian job car is now in 12th place, and behind they have one of the strongest lineup of the entire grid, in a very nice position, but with damage, so it has to be counted, it has to be taken into account. Very high performance being shown by all the drivers for now. We are looking at a 48.1 consistent by Marchi in 1st place, 48.5 for Rattiani, and then all the others are lapping very much into the 49 low, with the best one being set by Volkov in 7th place, 49.1. So for now the racing has been quite the race. It's been one of the starts of all time, that's for sure. But I want to go back here because Marco Chedi is possibly thinking about going back to his position. They have some front end damage to the Lamborghini, obviously. Remember that it's a 6-hour race, so I expect everyone to repair the car. But Marco Chedi is, for now, battling with Ray Cooper, that is not really... Can I pick him? Okay. That is not really taking the official racing line. He opted for a original one, but I don't think it will pay off. And I really think the Lamborghini in the number 5 is going to put the overtake. And it's the first GT4s being encountered by this pack. With a KTM, and it's a KTM! Being inside the pack. I think that's also a battle between drivers. That's for, I have no clue which position it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For 9th place. I want to go back into GT4s because they also have to have their moment. There is currently a battle for 3rd place in GT4 class between the 997 being driven by Antoine Dreis for the Race Spirit team, and then there is the 100 in 2nd place, being driven by Sabo Gregory. There is also a possible overtake ongoing here. It is Salvatore Toscano and Ale Giu in 125. Currently fighting for what is the 20th place. But I think I want to go back. There are a very high number of cars. And I'm seeing a yellow little arrow on Cavaterra's name, so I suspect some contact between the 183 and 80 in Ascari. And it's clearly a contact has happened. Just don't know if I have the time to go see the replay, but I don't think I will now. Okay, now I will, because there has been a contact between these two cars. It is effectively after Ascari. I think some bump draft. It is effectively some bump draft. Clever. Again, the battle for 3rd place with Marco Chedi, that has to defend this time and also to use the GT4 to their advantage. You can see there, it's quite nice to see that the Lamborghini behind them is gaining time while these two are having a fight. But I think a possible fight is going to happen now in Ascari. You can see the Lamborghini on left of your screen, the fence, the inside, and doesn't give the Honda any space to play with. Oh, the Honda goes a bit on the gravel. The Honda goes a bit on the gravel and doesn't seem to lose too much. It definitely lost some temps. But we'll go back to other fights ongoing. It's still the same here between the number 80 and I'm hearing Wilk going on the gravel. For now, Horvath and the Italian Job Lamborghini are still fighting for the same 12th place. With the BMW that is possibly using as much as possible the Lamborghini in front because of the damage that has been collected during the time that has passed, and now the Lamborghini behind is also having a bit of a thinking about making a move over Horvath, and it is effectively a move being done. So the Lamborghini goes in the middle of the two. Meanwhile, side by side between Katie and... Oh, contact between the Honda and the Lamborghini. It was literally Monza 2020 between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. No, it was 19. Oh wait, can't remember anymore. It was 19. Damn, that's a lot of years ago. So we are into 2019 back again. With a contact between the two drivers. It's the same exact route that has happened. In exactly the same way. It was quite nice to be seeing it. I will do an edit afterward. I just have to remember this moment. Okay. That's me. I need OBS. So, for now, Rai Cooper and Marco Keddy are lapping very fast too. They're lapping into the 49, 550 even, so, okay, 50, it's a 50, that's one. Villazzi is possibly trying the overtake on the outside, a bit of a difficult move to be making on Parabolica, that's for 9th place. While a bit more in front, a bit more behind, it's still a battle against Lamborghini, with Wilk trying the overtake on the Italian Job car, but there is also Volkov and Pitaccio having a bit of a fight there for 7th place. It doesn't happen for now, as of now at least. While Cavaterra and Wilk, that's for 12th place, are also in the same position as earlier on with the other two protagonists. But this time, it remains the same. Okay, never mind what I was about to say. I thought an overtake was ongoing. It doesn't seem the case. So we'll go back here between Villazzi and Lovering. So American against Italian for 9th place. Flat Out Sim Racing against... I need Sim Grid, please. Can you cooperate with me? Bricks Racing against Flat Out Sim Racing. Oh, we have the first penalty. And it is what I was saying. It's just a 5. Luckily. So we have car 202 and car 40 making contact, and it's a 5 seconds penalty for my team. So it's a bit of a heart attack going off. So it's Terence Keenan gaining a 5 seconds penalty for clearly making contact with the car in front of him. For now, we'll go back with the number 149. Still battling with Pitaccio. And obviously the GT4s are possibly giving their help to some drivers and the complete opposite to some others. For now, we'll go into the BMW. Just me in the commentary. So Volkov is now very close to the number 8, Flathouse Sim Racing. And now there are some GT4s on front. So that's why the commentary may be a bit frenetic. That's the right word, I guess. I'm not really good in organizing myself, as it's quite clear by the fact that I'm missing things left and right. But I'm trying. I hope. I'm trying my best, at least. But back at here, Matteo Pittacci and Volkov were having a bit of a fight and encountering some GT4s, and this put a 1.2 seconds gap between the two drivers. Oh, Van Horn is completely on the wall! Oh, that's a lot of damage for the car. Number 18, what has happened? We just saw the very last moment. Oh, he went on the grass on the outside and completely smashed the car into the wall. And number 18 was sitting in the middle of the way. We'll go back at this very situation. Cavaterra gained a 1.6 seconds gap to Wilk. Yeah, obviously, James, it's in 3 hours to go. But I think he was referring to how many are messing around at the moment. And the answer is, unfortunately, just me. There is a freeway yellow flag into turn 1. Definitely some contact there for the 200. So something happened here from the helicam. You can see a lot of traffic. That's a lot of. Oh, that's a Mercedes. That's an Aston being spinned out by, I think it was the 997 lineup. So it was Vilazzi and Overnick making some contact, and then the GT4s. The GT4s were just there with the number 200 having the worst fate, losing a couple of spots from 2nd in class to 4th in class, with Fernandez in the number 3 and Dreis in 997 gaining a position for their respective teams. At this point, I think I want to go back here for the battle between Horvath and the 420. So it's a Bego Racing Division and the GTR switching position with the Honda on the inside. And there is... okay, never mind. And we have a penalty. I just can't look at it right now, because I want to go back here. Okay, now I can. We have another penalty. It is car number 125 brakes, but not sufficiently enough when approaching a class of cars in lap 1. So 15 seconds penalty for the 125 for causing a collision. That's the Audi and the Mercedes making some contact into turn 1 for the 9th place. Oh, there's more than a bit of contact. There's a 52 not facing the correct way, and the 4 going away with it, with the 52 clearly taking another line, and this gives the 202 the 9th place, 7 seconds away from the ERS team, with Cavaterra now in 11th. So the Italian job gain a position on the Bricks Racing, with Vilazzi that possibly will have to answer to the steward for his actions. But in the meantime, we'll go with number 22, because there is some challenge ongoing with the BMW behind them, as Mattia Marchi posts the fastest lap, and meanwhile there has been some contact or some incidents with the 125 and the 180. So again, the 125 after the 15-second penalty, he closes the door and makes contact with the Italian job car. So not really the best racing experience for the 125 lineup for now. As they are now being involved in another incident. So Wizard Racing Team really having a bit of a afternoon. In the 100, there is an overtake on the Raccoons. As then Davis tries the outside. But no overtakes happen. So the Simplay Racing will have to stay behind. It is not the same for Barnard in 128. Making a switch of position with 934 Advisor Racing Team. So I think I have got the chance to go into GT4 to give a bit of coverage to the leader of the GT4 class in the 728 Mercedes, as Costa is already in the pit. I wonder if it's for a drive-thru or for repairing the car. Even if at this point, I think it's the first. It's a second. Sorry. So the latter. How do you become a driver? It's easy. Go in Discord and... Oh! The 52 is off! Onto the wall! What has happened? I think he collected the wall. I thought the race director really jumped the cam the second he didn't need to. And it is effectively the curb into Ascari and collects the wall, front end damage for the American driver. So Lovering now putting his team in a lot of trouble with damage on his car. And after the incident that has happened with Villazzi, obviously not his fault, the one with the number 4. But now front end damage is going to be heavy. Oh, there's some contact with the 22. 52 clearly frustrated by the situation that has happened. So before me shouting a lot, I was saying that you can become a driver simply by jumping in Discord or in SimGrid and applying for the endurance racing that will happen in the next few months, or the various championships that are going to start in the near future. And yes, I'm doing commentary on them, on many of them too. Which is not a good news, maybe? I don't know. Maybe. It is, maybe not. But anyway, that happened the second I went looking at the leader in GT4 class, so I'm scared to do it again. But anyway, oh! Cooper and Eck having a bit of a fight there. I think Cooper went to hide somewhere around. And now the Eclipse Racing Esports Lamborghini gains a place and goes in 4th. With Benjamin Eck that has now to defend against Cooper. And remember that the fight earlier on was against another Lamborghini. The Honda gets back. Clearly because the Honda is just purely better in raw straight line speed. A bit less in the turns. So I guess now Eck has the chance to stay in 4th place. 51.2, so clearly a mistake by the British driver for the Red Kings Motorsport. While Benjamin Eck in the from the Swedish country tried to make a move and made it until turn 1. Konstantin Volkov, 149 Crazy Life Racing, still behind Pitaccio. Now has to defend against Volkov, and I don't think it will happen as the BMW passes the other BMW. So number 8, Flathouse Sim Racing, that has to get back and try his best against the number 149. Doesn't happen here in Ascari. Or maybe it may happen in Parabolica with a little KTM. Every time it will happen, I don't care. Meanwhile, for the sorry, for the lead of GT4 class. Okay. In the GT4 class, there is a battle for the lead. 997 and number 728. The Italian job car going in the middle and kinda ruins the finish line with untimed race for we can do it in time for the race spirit team. Is now very close to making it to the lead of the racing class. Oh, it doesn't happen now, but in Parabolica everything could happen. You can see the rear sliding off. The 997, the Frenchman, currently giving the best he can to make an overtake with the Audi going across in the middle. But I think the leader Mercedes has a bit of a chance more. Williamson is... Oh, there has been again the same Aston Martin has collected a couple of drivers. Huge incident behind, and the 212 has been involved too. Huge one here into the chicane. And something clearly has happened here between Williamson and the 365 Gian Larsen. So we can see what happened. Apparently 22 trying the overtake on the blue flagged car, and then everything went south because you can see the 250 Pavel Morev that was coming across. One of the cars made it, the other didn't, and it was the BMW. And then there has been more contact between the 100 Dan Davis and the 212 Mission Spino that encountered front end the other BMW. So huge one for the Mission Spino and for a couple of other teams. So huge one for a couple of them. There is still Henrik Horvath battling with the 420 Bego Motorsport, but there is also the GT4 class battle with Antoine Dreis still fighting with Pitcairn for the lead of the race. So I'm looking at everyone, and for now in GT3 doesn't seem to be... Oh, there is a penalty, a new West one, the new version of the penalties. It's a car 369. Oh, it's an NFA. Okay, never mind then. Don't care. It's an NFA, so we'll go along with it. But for information of the viewers, the incident was involving the car number 369. And apparently it's a move that collected only themselves, so I'm not entirely sure what the penalty was about in the first place. For now, we'll stay here. 35 minutes of racing have been going. Remember that this one here is the challenge, is the battle for the lead of the class. So we are not really talking about bits. Firstly, Antoine Dreis found himself in the worst possible place now and had to give out some space, leaving Fernandez behind him. So it's now a three-way battle for the lead in class. With now you can see the number 3 being way closer to the Race Spirit team with Vacuum Racing. That one passing by is the 738. No, wait. It is the 738. Yes, it is Alan Brown in the FRL BMW passing by. Not a lapped car. First pit stop will probably happen in the next 20 minutes. But now, I think that... Oh, that was a Porsche number 88. Nearly collecting the P2 driver in class. And remember that even if you are GT3, you can't just destroy the drivers in your surroundings. You have to play it safe. Even considering these drivers are effectively running for a position. Oh! Speaking of which, the 88 clearly put the number 728 in a bit of a position. The Finnish driver remains in the lead in a very nice way, but I think the Frenchman is going from the outside, trying the position on the Mercedes. The two Mercedes still fighting together, and there is a BMW in the middle. I'm not entirely sure which position it is. I think it's the leader. I think it's the number 6. So now the Frenchman is going to try the inside. Could he make it? Oh, he tries. He does it. He goes for the lead. And he gains the lead of the race. So the race is now in front of Aku Pietikainen. So the Race Spirit team. Then there is Team Highwind. And then there is Vacuum Racing behind. We know the finish. Having a bit of a fight for P2. He passed from having to defend the lead to having to defend the second place, at the very least. Oh, Cooper is off! Oh, Cooper is off! Yellow flags for him. Gravel also. And I think Benjamin Eck will try the attack. And he does it, so Ray Cooper, I think a mistake. Into Parabolica. Put... Okay, and I don't think anything, I can just go look at it. So the reason is to be given to the fact that he was lapping a car and then completely lost the rear, but still maintained the control of the car. That was close. It was definitely close, but now the Eclipse Racing Esports Lamborghini is in front in the car number 331. Against the Red Kings Motorsport. That possibly wants to get the position back. Lamborghini defends the inside at last, but he does it. That was another boom in my ears. But after yesterday, I'm immune. Yesterday was absurd. And Marco Kenny made some contact with someone. I guess a lapped car. It was the number 200, so we can see what happened. Number 5 overtakes the Mercedes. Okay, that's race control going a bit too much. That wasn't that much of a contact. So, speaking of GT4s, you were seeing the final. In which sense? Ah, Corsa in 26 is doing well considering he's the old man team. But anyway, there is a battle here for GT4. But there's also a battle for 4th place overall. So for now we'll stay here because it doesn't seem to be happening, the one in front. And neither this one at this point. No, maybe this one does. So the Vacuum Racing has the chance to make it to 2nd place over the Finnish solo driver. But not here. So we'll go back in front. Well, back in front is a couple of tens of meters behind. So not really that far to find ourselves in the very same spots that we were seeing earlier on. But Ray Cooper, you can see the orange Lamborghini that will defend the inside. It doesn't happen here. Oh, bump draft! Some bump draft between the two cars. The Lamborghini having a bit of speed boost, and there is the side by side some contact between the Honda and the Lamborghini, with the Honda that utilizes the Mercedes in front as a bit of a wall to gain the position on the Swedish driver, that will not possibly be pleased about how it happened, but I think it goes. Oh, that's contact between the two drivers, with the Honda maybe making contact with the number 728 and Fernandez going in another planet. That was huge between the two drivers. You can see back what happened from the free. Tiny little contact between two drivers, with the number 3 having the worst. With now Sabo Gergali goes in second place in class and overtakes the number 728, so the Finnish driver finding himself from the lead of the race to the very final part of the podium. Messy one for the two. We'll go back here, again, it's the same situation as earlier on. We'll go back in front, and it means we go backwards. Because a couple of tenths behind, there is a battle for 7th place. Terence Keenan seems like he gained back and recovered his leaves. And he is now very much in the back of Matteo Pittaccio, as he now thinks about an overtake, but I think that's another move. Maybe waits. He has to wait a tiny bit more to be sure to make it. Yeah, because you can see from Pittaccio's point of view, there are cars in the middle, and a rush doesn't lead you to anything. Unfortunately, you have to wait. Even because the two GT4 drivers are battling for the position in class. But you can see there is a Mercedes that has to stay behind and wait for the other two, and that's a lot of time being lost by the Irish driver. So unfortunately, that's what it is meant by backmarkers give, backmarkers take. This time it has been a huge loss for the Irish driver that wisely chose to stay behind, but it meant a loss of a couple of seconds on the chase he was having with the Italian in front. Battle that was happening here for 3rd place in class, and it's still happening. You can see again GT4 give, GT4 take. That's the 202 Aleman that was trying to go away from Villazzi's hands, and now he finds himself very much in close proximity with the Italian. And I think I need to take this one out because it's really just frustrating at this point. Position delta. Okay. Just occupy a lot of the HUD. And even if Villazzi has been a bit put into detention mode behind the GT4s, speaking of which, it is now the closest battle on track, and honestly speaking, no, it's not, because there is the 80 with the GTR and the Bego Racing Division in 13th place, battling still for that same position that were ongoing some time ago. That's the 13th place battle. So until now, it has been a very nice race in my opinion. I still have You still have 2 hours to go. Oh, Ratian is off! Oh, Ratian is off! He has been collected in some kind of contact with the number 125. Again, the 125 being involved. What has happened here? You can see it's... Oh, that's... Unfortunately, I think Ratiani messes up the breaking point and collects some damage to his car and possibly gives Marco Chedi the chance to make it into second place. It seems to be the case. Ratiani is clearly finding himself a lot of difficulties because of the front end damage. And that's Marco Chedi going in second place for the ERS per FRL team. In the white, orange, blue and red car. With more colors than drivers. And I wish I was joking. But Ratiani, I think some lag, that's a lot of lag. That's Ratiani with a lot of lag, nearly collecting the Lamborghini from my point of view at least. Not entirely sure where he was at this point. And the second I was getting calmer. Okay, it can't happen. It really can't happen. It's absurd. As I was saying, you still have 2 hours and some with me. Depends when James is going to end this stints. So be sure to just ask me anything race related, anything in particular. You can also jump, if you are a driver, you can jump in the interview channel. Because, yes, it's not really forbidden. You just have to say it here in chat that you will appear, otherwise I will just scare myself. Which will be funny. And also because I have Discord silenced, so I can't hear you. That's the main reason. Plus volume check, and etc. Things. But anyway, you can do whatever you want, effectively. I'm not a cop. Or if you want to talk about anything, or giving your views about certain kinds, even penalties related, you can easily do so. But for now, we'll go with the battle against Beck, the Lambo, and the Honda. That's for 4th place overall. That's the Honda Red Kings Motorsport, still having a fight with the Eclipse Racing Esports Lamborghini. Orange team against the red one. I'm very scared for when I will be driving. And I'm not having a good feeling. Not sure why. Oh, there is a 420 is off. Oh, there is again the American driver being collected. It's a 52, not really facing correct way. Clearly frustration is a lot there. But you can see what happened with the 420. Has it been a contact? No, it's just been a loss of track and then the lag. I think the 52 had a bit of a lag there, because he has been collected for effectively no contact. So more damage to the car. And there has been a contact between Chedi and the 29 while I wasn't looking, obviously. When else does it have to happen? So contact in turn 1. And that's it. Okay, thanks. So some contact in turn 1. Even if the replay really helped a lot. Maybe like here, can I look at it? So there was a side-by-side situation. Oh, that's some contact with Ratiani. And the second contact, I think it was in the exit. So effectively the first replay was more or less the conclusion of the incident that was happening. But we are getting there. We are getting there to the penalty, obviously. I was saying to the pit stops, but there is a penalty going on. Car number... Okay, that's a lot. Car 100 should have stayed still until clear of traffic instead of accelerating and causing a severe incident with oncoming cars. Car 100 will receive a 5 points Plus 30-second time penalty. Car 100 being in. Not sure which one. Okay, so it was Dan Davis making contact with the Mission Spino car. And I'm seeing some contact between the 100 and the 128. Speaking of which, you can see here in turn 1, the 100 really not giving a lot. And I think the complete opposite, defending as much as possible. I was saying it's pit stop time, and apparently someone heard me. Couple of cars going into the pits. Not yet the top ones, who I think they will go for the longest stint possible. Remember that some cars have penalties, and with some I mean just 1 and 2. But the highest ones, there is just a 40 with a 5 seconds penalty for an incident, with a 202 now 3 seconds behind said 40. And now that I have to think about it, I have to make a thing, which is position gains, which is Assetto P main. I did a thing. Just believe me. Meanwhile, Ray Cooper and Benjamin Eck, it's still the same battle, it's still the same teams, it's still the same cars, it's just a different position on track. With this Lamborghini very fast until now. There are 2 Lamborghini very fast, which is a surprise considering the Lamborghini's lack of popularity. You can see now Benjamin Eck goes into the outside. And the outside he goes. Can he make it before the Parabolica? And the answer is no. Not yet, at least. He doesn't. He tries the cutback. It kind of fails because I think he went on power a bit too late for the cutback to happen. Maybe it was... Well, something I would have done is try to give myself as much slipstream as possible. But I think in this case he gave himself way too much space. And in fact he finds himself a bit late in turn 1. Volkov is the first one of the lead ones to go into the pit. With in front of him a 203 Audi very much destroyed and demolished. I saw a yellow flag earlier on. That was clearly the reason. So effectively we have the first undercut, because at this point it's a bit early. I admit. It's a bit early. So Volkov decides for an undercut, which in Monza works as much as it works. It's Monza. It's not exactly the undercut kind of track. It's for the overcut one. But anyway, we have Ilya Ratiani going sideways. Mate, can you check the internet? Like, that's an advice, but I think that the race steward may have the same opinion about this. Meanwhile, Volkov finds himself in the worst possible position because he pitted so early. It also means that he finds himself in the middle of the traffic in 16th place. So I'm not really sure that was a good tactic to go early. As I was saying, I have no clue. I saw a yellow flag and then I saw them in the pits. And unfortunately I was looking at the battle in front. So I'm not entirely aware. There is no incident for a 203 in the race control. So I'm not really sure there was an incident. I think there was just a loss of control of some kind. But unfortunately I can't tell you more. That's the maximum I can say to you. But back here, it is now Sergio Mais in 17th place for the Crazy Life Racing. As I was saying, finding himself in the middle of the traffic, of the absolute traffic. So the undercut not really performing well now, but obviously at any given moment you pit, you will find yourself in the traffic because there are a lot of cars tonight. There are 48 drivers. Teams, not drivers. Teams, it's possibly multiplied by 2 or 3 even. But I think for now I want to go here with 125, finding himself in the grass and battling with James Williams, the number 7, if the cameraman would have the audacity to follow the cars. So James Williams in this purple and pink livery. Battling with the 125 ahead. There is another personal best coming out just now. It is Matteo Pittaccio that makes a 49.1 personal team best at basically a couple of laps away from the pit window, which is unexpected. This is very point. And as I said it, Benjamin Eck passes his personal best, 48.757. And Tereskinan goes into the pits. So the number 40 is the second of the high one to go into the pits, but at this time I thought the 4 was going more, but anyway, he goes into the pits. 5 seconds of penalty being cleared, and I remember that he was battling. They were battling with the number 149 behind the 180. A lot of drivers will go into the pits at this point. It's highly possible. We have the 21, the 22 into the pits. For now it seems like this. Obviously many cars will dive into the pits. There is another one, there is 180 going into the pits. At this point I'm very curious to see. That's a 40 going out, but that's the 149 already crossing the line, with Morev being in a bit of a middle way, just in front of the... Oh, 149 making contact with a car. There were too many cars in the very same spot. With the number 6, it was Mattia Marchi. It was the leader. I want to see it back from the helicam. You can see there, it's just too many cars in too little space. And that's the 149 and the 6 making contact together. So Mattia Marchi still has to pit. Unfortunately, 149 Crazy Life doesn't. So it's damage that they will have for the whole duration of the stint. Not really the best. I want to check. I don't know who to check. Because at this point, there is Cavatar making contact. So that's definitely something I want to see back. With Alan Brown. Let me see what happens. So it is Cavater and Brown making more than a bit of contact into Parabolica. And then there is another contact between Mimo Aria and Ilya Ratiani. So the 29 finding himself involved in an incident. He goes on the... Okay, oh no, okay, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. I think if I have any steward here, can you please kindly ask the 29 to pit now and to change the driver, because this is not something that has to happen. So I kindly ask any steward to just wave a black and orange flag for clearly some troubles with their driver. They have to change the driver, because at this point it's not a viable condition. You can see it's quite dangerous in my opinion. They still have to make the pit, so they will still be in time for a change of driver. That is mandatory at this point, because the internet connection is absolutely not helping. So a lot of drivers into the pits, because it's effectively 65 minutes timer, so I guess many of them will go into the pits. Another one, it is Mirko Cavaterra. So effectively this puts... oh no, Mattia Marchi is already out of the pits as the leader of your race. And... oh, that's a mistake by the number 6 lineup. Already a nearly mistake by the Italian lineup. Yes, it is the 6th hour of Monza. There are still 5 hours to go. And I'm Cristian Romano, your current commentator of the first 3 hours. With James Williams, that will be the second commentator for the last 3 hours. Currently, you're watching an hour that has passed, and you're currently looking at the leader after the pit stops. I think, oh, that's a huge jump in the pits. That's the Crazy Life Racing jumping Ray Cooper for the Red King Motorsport. Not driving, but here is the car, if you're asking for it. Unfortunately, the 331 really had the worst possible placement behind the GT4 into the pits. I don't know when he will drive because I don't have their team sheet. That's it. I know the I know the car. That's the maximum I can say to you. If you want, I can tell you everything about the team they are driving for. That's the maximum. That's the best I can do. But anyway, I'm here because there is now Christoph Sakeki, one of the drivers. I don't know what I was about to say, but anyway, Christoph Sakeki doesn't care about what I'm about to say, and the Flathouse Sim Racing now has to defend against the Mercedes Eclipse Racing Esports, and it's an overtake on the side, and it's already on, and the battle is on, and apparently it's already off, with Christoph Sakeki not really waiting a single second and putting the car in 7th place in front of Francesco Svelto for the Flathouse Sim Racing. A very nice move. And obviously that's the maximum I can say because otherwise I would be biased. But objectively speaking, that was a very nice move, and Svelto seems like he has been a bit put into a situation where he's now losing some time. And now there are 4 seconds of difference between him and the Red King Motorsport. The Red King Motorsport that seems to have had a terrible pit stop for some reason. So let me see what happened. They had 15 seconds for damage. That's just for side damage, I guess. So 15 seconds of penalty inflicted to their pit stop. That's why they are so low down the grid. While the 40 lineup, with a mistake being put by the 22 Raccoons, being overtaken by the GT4 Advisor Racing Team. As I was saying, 5 seconds of penalty and just a second of damage for the 40, while the number 8 had 10 seconds of damage. So that's why the 40 seconds pit stop. And that's why also the number 8 and the number 40 were so close even after the pit stop. Well, the 202 had just 6. Number 4 had 17 seconds of damage. Number 8, 183 had 10. 15 for the 21. 305 with 12. 24 for the 80. So now we'll see the real speed of the 80 lineup. And the 80 is, I remember you all, the one that had some incidents with the Lamborghini, so the GTR Masters against, where are now? The 21, there it is. The 21, which is the raccoons. 31 that had a 15 seconds of damage. And Dorazio is... That's a self spin into Parabolica. I wonder if it was a contact with it was a contact with Horvath. I just didn't give enough time to the racing control to see it. And there is also a wall being interviewed by the Lamborghini. And there is also the pizza. So already, and oh, that's some side-by-side situation there between Manurm and Svelto. Number 8! Oh, that's a crash for the flat of sim racing. That's the wall. Apologies for the shouting. I wasn't just expecting it. So number 8. Oh, that's. I think that's a contact. I think that's a contact with Mandarum in the 202. It was in fact a contact. So we can see from the interior, you can see here, number 202 makes contact with the number 8 that get sent into the barrier. So now Francesco Svelto having a terrible start of his stint. It is now a terrible stint, and that's it. So not really the best scenario for the Flathouse Sim Racing. Now really finding themselves in a very, very difficult position. Is it too much? Seems for now they stay out. But I wonder how the lap times will evolve and if a pit stop is required by the Italian lineup. You know, I'm seeing in chat there is some 997 enjoyer currently lapping in first place after a couple of overtakes that have happened in the GT4 class. And that's the 52 again! Finding myself not really in the correct way. You saw the spin. It was happening. It is Chris Fizza. So the American lineup is not really having a good time for now. Now I was seeing it. It's a 40. So Christian Stakeki is putting out a hell of a stint. Now very close to Crofts. In front of that's a gravel. It was gravel from a GT4 driver. But the 40 is astonishing in his hands for now. But there is the traffic to deal with. The 40 clearly with a better exit than the Honda in front. He uses every single centimeter of the slipstream until it was literally too late. Not literally, luckily. And there is still side by side. I think the Mercedes has it this time. And in fact, it is Crofts that has to let the Polish driver let go. That was 6th place. So another 40. The 40 that goes in 6th place, just in front of what was once the 2nd placed driver. Now find themselves into very low on the grid. Meanwhile, oh, contact again! Pereira, 21 Raccoons and Svelto in the flat of sim racing. Not seeing there was a Lamborghini side by side with them. Then Francesco Svelto making contact with the Raccoons 21. Side damage for the lineup here, Lamborghini lineup. Anyway, I still want to take into account, I think I will ask the situation devolves to take action, because for now it seems okay. But I'm really much into the situation. Okay, no, it's terrible. I think I think I will do this. I'm not someone that does it. But the situation here is not okay. 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 Now everything is under control, I think. I need to get back to the incident response. This one here, and this one here. Now it's better. Let's control, and let's go here. Where am I? I took a random car. Okay. So apologies for the little break. Break. Yeah. Break. But anyway, I was dealing with a thing that has to be dealt. I think it's pretty much obvious what I was dealing with. It's just that I think it has to be looked into. For now, Pereira is very much in close proximity with the other Lamborghini, or the 4 that are in the top 11. I would have said top 10, but obviously someone is not in the top 10. So I need to say top 11. Top 15 I can say. Oh, contact with the Italian job! And Manroom is also with yellow flags being shown. So multiple incidents happening at the same time. This is 202 here. Oh, that's... I think he tried to jump some time and he found himself over the grass and the gravel. He luckily maintained the car in one piece. So no incidents whatsoever. For now here for 10th place, it's still a good situation ongoing. Oh, Osorio, 331! They're finding himself with yellow flags. There doesn't seem to be... Oh, that's a huge one. And I can't see any 331 being involved, so I think they were just sitting there. I wonder what happened. Oh, that's a spin! That's a spin in turn 1. And by rejoining the track, they did a second one. That's the reason why the 331 Lamborghini that was finding himself in 4th place is now finding himself in a terrible position after Benjamin X perfect run. Sergio Osorio is not really finding the same speed. So this effectively gives Sergej Mays, Christoph Stakecki and Luke Crafts a position more. I have no clue. I'm not a steward, unfortunately, so I can't answer your question. I will go with the... maybe... I don't know why. No, the FRLACC. I have honestly no clue, though. But anyway, I will go back here because Damiano Barrucco is still battling with Rafael Pereira, Raccoons against Italian Job, and Svelte again in the number 8. I was seeing some yellow flags. And the reason is to be given to the fact that he was battling with Luke Crofts. That's a driver that he can't fight with because it is, you can see, in 6th place. So the number 8 after the pit stop is trying to unlap himself as fast as possible, but this requires that he uses I think that was a bit too much by the Italian driver. And Aria is finding myself in a incident there with I have no clue who that was. It was the 200. It was the 200. That was a Porsche. Oh no, that was a Porsche. I think that was time to let the other pass by. So you can see the 200 Sabo Gagli and the Mercedes and the Aston Martin there. That was fighting with James Williams, making some contact with the GT4. Number 200 is in second place, 10 seconds behind Antoine Reyes. Oh, that's a BMW. That's Fantozzi. Bruno Fantozzi finding himself side of the road. But now we'll go back looking at I think here Adam Foster in the 128 and Giuffrida in front are possibly about to engage a battle. In the last lap they made Giuffrida and Foster the same exact lap time. 1:51.667, exact same. I'm hearing some gravel. That's a lot of gravel being heard. I wonder what it was. But there is now those one in the 22 Raccoons. So now it's a freeway battle for 14th place against 3 different teams and 3 different cars with 3 different I don't know, skill sets. And that's a Ferrari 128 going a bit wide, Adam Foster. He's not considered number 8. As I said, ticket, it's not a place, nor... I mean, you can jump in the commentary booth and talk about it. I'm just not sure for how much you can do it before a ban. But anyway, Fabio Giuffrida in bit of a middle way ground in 15th place. Oh, it's astonishing the gap that has been created between the first 3 drivers in 16 seconds of difference among each other, and then the 4th placed BMW 35 seconds behind, which is a lot. 35 seconds, seems like the top 3 is running a literal another race. For how much they are going fast compared to the rest of the grid. The question is if the situation will stay the same during the night time, because the last 2 hours will be in night, especially the last hour will be in completely night time. So it's going to be interesting to see if the pace can stay the same during the darkness. But anyway, for now we stay with the hot sun of the Italian countryside. Asvelta again, number 8. He's not really finding himself in the correct direction. Meanwhile, more yellow flags ongoing. But there is an overtake there. It's Sergio Osorio again being involved in an incident. That's an overtake from Adam Foster. I want to give a look. I think there has been a contact with 888, or it's just pretty unlucky as a situation there. But for now, the situation here is the overtake. Oh, the Aston Martin is being collected. Huge crash among 4 drivers. It is Foster, Dawson, Giuffrida, and I don't know who the other was. It's a 4-way crash between all the cars. You can see from the helicam. So the Aston Martin slowing a lot. Contact with, I think it was a Mission Spino. I'm not really sure which one it was. It was a Mission Spino car. So huge contact among some cars. While Sergio Osorio and Horvath are battling for position, but I think the Lamborghini will go into this. So I have here the situation. There has been some contact by the Lamborghini lineup. Question is, after we see the overtake happen with the BMW of the number 80 doing a bit of a comeback run, what happened here? So I'm seeing the 49 that is not in the lobby anymore being involved. You can see here Sergio Osorio loses the rear because there was the KTM in the middle, and there was, oh, a couple of drivers being involved. It was a 934 Advanced Racing Team, and then there was a 49 being involved too. It's not really showing me who the 49 was. Oh no, I'm seeing Rattiani. Oh no, I'm seeing Rattiani in the 203, Joseph Fullert being involved. The question is how it happened. So you can see here 29. Oh, making contact with the Audi and crashing himself into the wall. And then I don't know what happened next. Maybe another one. But that's a lot of front end damage for the Honda in third place. So disaster for the third place to Honda, and now has huge front end damage. And why not? Possibly another trip into the pit lane. While we are looking here, Christoph Stakecki. Having a good run for behind Mace. Meanwhile, it's a Bego Racing Division. Another incident. With the number 5, is it? Oh, that's the number 5 making contact with the 420. And then there is the 331. It was... oh, contact with whoever that was. I think there's some contact between the 149 and the 40. So we saw the incident. I think it was an FRL BMW. It was clearly an FRL BMW. Not really sure which one though. I think it was Thompson. But anyway, it's here. In fact, Thompson is not in the lobby anymore. That made a huge contact with the 331. You just saw it with a glimpse of an eye. But now it's a battle here between the 40 and the 149 Crazy Life Racing against Eclipse Racing Esports. With the Crazy Life that really doesn't want to let the Mercedes pass by. I wonder how much damage there is for Filippo Di Polito in second place. Rattiani in third. I'm sure there is a lot of damage. 51.8. It has been the last lap for the Honda driver. And you can see the Mercedes going to the outside. Not really for voluntary choice, but mostly because the BMW decides to take it inside. That's a 40, utilizing another racing line. That's a 149, still side by side with them. So Christoph Stakecki has to stay behind for now. But there is the second chicane ongoing. I think the BMW will go for a defensive move. Changes idea at the middle of the way. And then the battle goes on for another lap. That's for fourth place. It may even become third if the damage to the car number 1 to car number 29 is too much. Meanwhile, Dawson is not really finding himself in the correct direction. He's on Ascari too, so very close from the two drivers having a fight there. Oh, in fact, you can see that Aston Martin was just there, sitting at lower speed. Blue flags showing. And that is Costa making the overtake on Dawson. You saw it from the right of your screen. But the current battle is here. Sergio Mace utilizes every single bit of the track, but the Mercedes has a clear speed advantage in the straight. They both turn into turn 1 again. 149. Pushes a bit the 40 off track. The 40 understands the situation and stays behind. It's a high-speed chess. And it's astonishing how they are lapping very quick. 49.7. And they are also gaining on the car in front. Currently lapping 50.5 after the damage on the front end. Gain on Parabolica. So now with 4 hours and 30 to go. Obviously it's a long race, so you just don't want any damage, you just don't want any contact, you don't want any incident, you just want as less problems as possible. And in this situation here, I think Stakeki really wants to maintain that bar very low in terms of incidents and damage collected. But meanwhile there is a Porsche just in front of the BMW. Kinda slows him down. Maybe it's a bit of a gift for the Mercedes 40. So the Eclipse Racing Esports car maybe finding himself in a bit of an advantage position in Parabolica. For now the overtake happens. And it happens completely. So he managed to do it just in the back straight with the BMW driver finding himself a bit stuck behind the Porsche. Obviously backmarkers give, backmarkers take. And in this situation I think Stakeki has finally some clean air to play with. And the straight line is the main battlefield for the Mercedes driver, considering the speed. And it effectively puts maybe just a pause button, but who knows, it may be a stop button to the battle that was happening. So we'll go back looking at others. There is Fioravanti making an overtake on Castillo, this is Spanish. Castillo really not having a good time there, sure why. 420 after the incident, there has been an overtake between Foster and Jerry Raudan, so the Bego Motorsport and the 128 team. And I'm slowly hearing my voice going out. I can clearly hear the fact that part of my voice is not here anymore. But the final Drive Sim Racing made another position, 42 seconds away from 11th place though. So it's a lot. And I think CJ Mason made a mistake somewhere, because now the gap is 2 seconds. So not entirely sure the situation there. But I will go back here, because there is just half a second between Foster and Gary Raudan. It also Van Horn and Williams switching positions, that's our 25th place. But they are side by side. The action is not completed as of now. With Aston making it from the outside, defending as much as possible, and not really defending it, it became an attack position, that one there. So, great run by the Dutch driver. Very good one. Meanwhile, I think it's a nice moment to go with the leader of the class, both ones. We have for now Mattia Nakira in the Flat Out Sim Racing number 6 BMW. It's an astonishing run, and the 21 is off. Ooh, there has been contact with another car there. See, this one is not showing me. So we can see there has been, oh, the 21 closing the door a bit too much early on the 365. This time was innocent. So Rafael Pereira for the Raccoons finds himself just 8 times in front of the Italian job Lamborghini 183, with possibly also some front-end damage. And again the number 8, again another incident for them. It's been an uncountable number for now. It's been a real loss. That's odd. It's an odd incident for the BMW driver, because he lost the rear on entry on a corner that is usually very much understeery. So odd one, that one. But anyway, I think the situation here can still stay the same. So considering there is a lot of time, I think I will again the 8 Parabolica. Seems like the nervousness is there. Again, another loss of control with the car. So as I was saying, I think I want to go here in the passenger seat, which is the splitter. Because the Portuguese driver in front is clearly having some troubles in the front end of his car, and this means that the speed, the maximum speed output is ruined. So now we'll go with this view, which is usually not popular from my side, but he goes for the inside. When he thinks about it, it clearly doesn't go 100%. For now, there are also two back markers in front of them. The problem is that one is the number 8, which is possible that he will not give any space. Meanwhile, Barucco makes it into 10th place. So the Italian job car, gold and black, is now in front of the Raccoons 1. And some position being done. Meanwhile, speaking of position, there is the number 4 Flat Out Sim Racing, very close to the Mission Spino Mercedes. You can see there is about to defend this position for 7th place. Oh, that's the Audi. That's the Audi braking a lot later than the Mercedes. And I'm seeing some gravel, some grass and gravel. Anyway, for now, it's the situation is still this one here. You can see from the Audi point of view, he goes on the inside. Can he make it? Can he make it into the second chicane? He does. He utilizes a bit of the track, a lot of the track, but stays in front. And the Flat Out Sim Racing number 4 is now in 7th place. 7th place for the Italian. With the 202 that has now to attack and change his position to an attack mode, but I don't really think it will happen. Put it for now. Salazar goes in the pits, so we may see the first desynchronization of the pits. No, okay, no, he went in the pits, but I don't think he's in the race anymore. So it's possibly damage related. Manorum seems like he doesn't want to give up. So the Mission Spino car. That's the is it the 420? Oh, that's the 420 making contact with someone, but we'll see it later on. This battle still is on. So it is effectively contact 125 and 420. You can see what happened in the next few seconds. For now, I want to see if the Mercedes makes it into 7th place. It doesn't happen here. Maybe it happens later on. But we'll go see what happened exactly. The situation here is the 125 again being involved. And it was just in the middle of the way with the 420 being sent into a parallel dimension. And then sent back into ours, considering how fast he went into the barrier. And this is giving Salazar in the 23 the chance to make it over the Bego Motorsport, of Bego Racing Division, sorry, car. Side by side, 420-23 with the 420 maintaining the inside line, which is not really the best of things because Parabolica with a wide entry works way better than Parabolica without narrow entry, also because you need as much speed as possible. And in fact you can see Salazar making it. Now everything is given to the fact that who has less damage slash who has a faster car, which is the Honda. Not really any problem. As you can see, Salazar is not really attacking, more like going forward. But it was, I think I'm not entirely sure, 369. So Van der Strass in 30th place is unlapping himself, possibly considering himself faster than the Bego car. As a matter of fact, it seems like it. Seems like it. So, little view of who is in front. We have the number 6, Mattia Nakira for the flat top sim racing, Fulvio Di Polito for the number 5 FRL per RERS car, a very nice Lamborghini, and then Ilya Ratiani solo driving in 3rd place with Christoph Stakiki for the Eclipse Racing Esports in 4th place, and in 5th place Sergej Mace for the oh no, I forgot the team. Crazy Life Racing team. In GT4, it's a bit different. Just a bit, we have Antoine Reyes currently leading the race with 15 seconds of difference. And then 7 currently is, well, currently it is. It's not really like it will evolve. So the 9-7 Race Spirit team. Then there is Sabo Gergely running solo, I think, in the 200, in the number 200, it's not a name that I will pronounce, and then Pietikainen, the Finnish driver, also driving solo in the 728, Team Hivemind, with Dormelles in number 3 following close in the Vacuum Racing, and Birvirt in the Aston Martin 213 Mission Spino Racing. So this was your top 5 for both classes. And anyway, this is Pancake Hours. No, trying to find a battle. I think I will go here because Marco Barbieri is very close to Davis. There has been a net profit of 7 times on the 100 BMW for the Italian driver. And I think in the next couple of seconds or minutes or laps we may see some overtake happening, but it's astonishing to see in front in a minute of time there are just 5 drivers with just 3 of them under 40 seconds from the leader. They're just wow, just astonishing work by the leading teams. It will be interesting to see what will happen during the 24 hour of Watkins Glen, because that race is going to be simply wow, in my opinion. It's the best possible track to make an endurance, and it's a 24 hours, so I really look forward to it for a numerous amount of reasons. And it's going to be held in 2 months from now. Next month is going to be Brands Hatch 4 hours. So really 4 hours of racing, it's I think we'll see a lot of drivers going solo or maximum duo, because 3 drivers is literally not doable. So we may see a lot of solo and a good chunk of duo. I doubt we will see a free driver lineup in Brands Hatch, considering how how short it is. Now, surprise, surprise, we see a 4 drivers lineup, 1 per pit stop. I mean, it wouldn't be a surprise that much, but mostly it would be odd to say the least. But I think at best we will see some 2 drivers lineup and a lot of solo. I wonder if and how I will participate. Meanwhile, 7, James Williams overtakes number 8. Going a bit slower than the usual. Not really sure, the lap was a very low 55. And I'm not really sure why it was so slow as a lap. Odd. Very odd. But anyway, I think I will go back here, because the 305 is back into a very nice position. You can see how close they are. That's for 15th place. I think the Lamborghini this time has the chance to make it. They lapped the 48.9. An astonishing lap, honestly. And okay, thanks even to the slipstream, that's obvious, but you have to make it anyway. 48.9 is a very nice one. As also Wilk is trying the overtake on Fantozzi, but the Polish driver is having a bit of a fight and more difficulty than the other Lamborghini driver in the 305, 40 seconds in front. But I think the overtake will happen in the very same place. And as a matter of fact, the Lamborghini makes it into 18th place. No, never mind. The Porsche, that's not a Porsche, the BMW makes contact with the Lamborghini. The 2 drivers, seems like after changing paint job, so nothing, because there is no livery, they made it into 18th place. A bit of contact, nevertheless. For now, Dan Davis. Still in close proximity to Barbieri in the Lamborghini in front. But there's also up in front someone is going quick. Is an understatement. Horvath, after repairing the car, he's been lapping 48. That's a great lap, to say the least. And Madrum has been lapping a second slower, so I don't think Horvath will have a hard time making it. The number 80, GTR Masters. And as a matter of fact, if he does it, he goes in 8th. So this just leaves his next opponent in 7th place, 4.5 seconds in front. And with this pace, it's highly possible that he will get into 5th place, at the very least, looking at the lap times. It's a bit hard to get into 4th place, and I think maybe impossible to get into 3rd, considering Rattiani is lapping the same times as Horvath, except that there are 50 seconds of difference. So that's something I'm not really looking forward to, but I guess those 4 seconds aren't that many. If you look in perspective, meanwhile the 100, it's not really... No, don't destroy the... That's useful! Don't ever destroy the brake marker. Never! That's a crime! You don't have... You can't do it. It's a crime. People need it. So now, all the drivers that use the 100 marker will have a very hard time. The problem is that all of them use it, so it's a very hard time for everyone. Equity on a budget. Can't be fast enough, you can't be fast. Because yes, Oh, there has been a penalty. That's not Discord. So car 183 makes a dangerous dive up the inside of the 34 car and makes contact. Car 183 will receive a 15 seconds penalty and 3 points to his license. So 183 in... Oh, it's Barucco. So Barucco has a 15 seconds penalty, which really doesn't ruin anything. Even if you will go to 37 seconds of difference from Manum, a couple of 5 seconds in front of Foster with the current... No, wait, I can't count anymore because it is 41 seconds. I was counting 41 from Manum, not really sure why. But Barucco is currently in no man's land, so it's not really going to be an obstacle for the 183 lineup, as 15 seconds of penalty will put them 40 away from Manrum and 25 away from Foster. While meanwhile there's the 23 car that is possibly battling with Morev, the 250. I think the 40 there has to pass by beforehand. And because of the rules, you have to let the faster cars by. That's a rule enforcement. And you just can't say no. You have to. So Salazar now finding himself 1 second away, but Morev still has to make himself lapped. As Davis goes into the pits for the second pit stop. Well, Alvieri is getting quicker than the 420 Bego, lapping high 51. It's possible the Italian will have a chance to make it into 14th place, and then there will be 14 seconds of gap between the Italian team and the number 23 of Salazar. You can see how close the two teams are. The 3-3-1 in the distance after a bit of a difficult stint, to say the least. Meanwhile, it's Marco Barbieri that makes the overtake into 14th place and makes the Bego Racing division a thing of the past. While Salazar in the 23 is now very close to the Aston in front. And never mind what I was about to say, because the 23 goes into the pits. So, the driver that chooses the pit stop lane. Well, quite interesting to see what happened after the pit stops, as Salazar gained a huge amount of positions, but unfortunately it's slightly too late to see it. But I can tell you that the 40 gained 4, the 253 lost 2, Horvath gained 5 since the beginning of the stint. It's a very nice performance by the number 18. There's been 6 positions being gained by 128 lineup, and 4 by the 250. So for now, a very nice performance, but by some of the teams. Anyway, oh, the 7 is off in Ascari. What happened here? Oh no, I'm just seeing the later part of it, and it seems like I may have understood what happened. I think it was the curb in the middle of Ascari that let the car jump by. Meanwhile, here is the battle for second place in class. It's Aku Pitikainen against Dormelles in second place. It's the battle for P2 in class. With Bivert, oh, yellow flag there. He was a bit wide. Oh, there's contact, major contact with the BMW. 212. It was Oberyn being involved there. A very strange one. So, what has happened is Fabian Birwirt gets collected by the 250 Aston Martin, and then what happens is that he goes back in track, and the BMW just lost it completely, and unfortunately Birwirt was just in the wrong place at the wrong time twice. So that's just bad luck for the German driver in the GT4 car. Therefore he found himself in the worst possible scenario for no reason, effectively. The BMW just lost it completely. And there was nothing that could have been done to avoid it. Except not existing, which is something too much to ask for. For now, I'm in the 365, that's a wall! I was hearing a bit of engine turbulence. The reason was because the curb happened. So the leader in class goes into the pits. It's the second pit of the evening, so I guess it's the right time to put this one here and set 2. Okay, now it's better. So I can know in half an hour what exactly are the difference in position. Oh wait! That was the leader! The leader is not in the lobby anymore! So we lost the 997! That's disaster in GT4! So the leader in class is out of the race while he was in the pit, and I'm not really sure why. So Race Spirit team is done for the day. For effectively no reason. Which is a terrible thing, considering they were leading without pretty much any problem. 15 seconds of gap. Just that apparently something happened, maybe connection issue. But in the meantime, it's number 8 trying the overtake on... Oh, 75 is off into the gravel. And now in 21st place, but we go back here. As Burgi is now trying to get back in front of Capogreco. I think the Honda will have a chance, maybe on the inside. Thing is that maybe they understand there is not... Oh, that was the 52. Going hugely off. Skyler Loverink going a bit off into the straight, and there is Van der Stress, which I don't know where he is, just know where he isn't, in the track. So that's what happened. Goes into curb, cuts a bit too much, and goes into the barrier from 23rd place. He's now in 24th after the incident. But meanwhile, I want to go here, because it's a pretty interesting thing to be seen as the pit stop approaches. Mace is in fact the first one to go into the pits. He tries again an undercut. Teddy Korvath is very close to the car in front. Now I will go a little to take a bit of water, but I will come back in just 2 minutes of time, so the time span of a lap. For now I will give you the ride with Henry Korvath for a single lap. So you all saw the overtake that has happened here between Horvath and Alessandro. With Ingmar Alessandro losing the position on Horvath in an extraordinary run. I think a bit of a... Okay, there's been a mistake there, that's why. So I leave her a single lap and the overtake happens, obviously. But anyway, there's been a contact here. 230 and 369. So the answer is that the Porsche is definitely not in the correct racing line. And then there has been more contact between the two drivers. With Honda getting back in front of said Porsche. For now, Horvath is really destroying the field. As Artiani made a pit, Sakaki is now doing it. So it leaves 4 hours to play with. Let me see a thing. Just quickly, I can't from here. I'll do it somewhere else. So from here. Otherwise I can't. Because I also have to check if everything is under control in another place. But anyway, this is all under control. So for now it's Zakella, or Zekalla. Zekalla? No, it's in German, so I don't know really. But the 203 is trying to make the overtake on the Honda number 369. On the inside, the mission Spino goes, and there is no answer from the other side, so it's an overtake well done by the German driver. Meanwhile, up in front, it is a huge loss of gap by Rattiani. 12 seconds was the damage being collected, and that has been also repaired. But that means that Sakaki is now 5 seconds away from the 29 lineup. A lineup with just a single driver, so it's a bit difficult to have a lineup based on a single driver. 149 is very much behind now. I'm not entirely sure how it happened, because there was some gap between the 40 and the 149, just not this much. There weren't 30 seconds, I'm quite sure about it. But anyway, go here, go here. But anyway, for now it is Konstantin Volkov on the wheel, with Thomas Lagni in the 80, and the 420 is into the pits, so never mind. Yellow flags being shown, because this game sometimes is funny and works on even days. It's basically it's a huge roulette. But you don't know what happens. Anyway, it's everything under control, maybe. No clue. I just hope so. Okay. So for now, obviously the stint timers are about to end. Remember that I have 65 minutes of timer, and they can't really go otherwise. That's it. Okay, it seems under control. Okay, maybe a lap. So for now, the more closest to the stint timer line, to the stint timer limit, are the ones from, I think, 9:34, but it's already in the pits. So I think 128, 101. I'm also seeing Nakira in the number 6, very close to the limit. There is a couple of minutes remaining on their stint, but nothing that worries too much. Obviously, it is also very interesting to see where the drivers will be put in after the pit stops. So we have Ratiani and Stakaki that have made it, Volkov, Lani, and for the high positioned cars, I think that's it. But obviously, we will stay with Martina Kira as the leader of the race. Undoubtable for now, their skill. They are the fastest lap holder. They are lapping extraordinarily good, and they are on the best car. So, effectively, nothing that can go between their win and their team. It's nice to see that it's not just a BMW field. I remember some time ago there was a race where it was held at Monza. It was like a 2 hour of Monza, you know, nothing too much. The problem is that literally the whole field was just BMW. And then they changed the gear ratio and something pop up. So, like, the BMW is still the fastest around here. It's just that the Mercedes, the Honda, and the Lambo are good enough to like this some diversity. Obviously, I am really looking forward to see the newest Bob that will appear after the patch will come out 1.9, which is a game changer. It has to be. It is said to be a game changer. It's basically changes completely the dampers behavior. Obviously, puts the newest cars, tire model being changed, bug glitch being taken out, just like the max damper one, which is completely not a legal thing to do, but everyone does it, so what else? It's just this, I think. I think it's just this, because it's all. It's like there isn't much else. New cars, new dampers, new tires, new glitch being exploited. But it's going to be interesting to see how the 1.9 will evolve. I really hope the newest cars will not be terrible, because I want to change cars again. And yes, I didn't master a single one yet, and yet I want another one. Meanwhile, it's Lucroft, maybe it's Lucroft, that has been overtaken by the Flat-Out Sim Racing lineup, number 4, and possibly the Red King Motorsport wants their position back after the pit stop. It was 5 seconds slower for the British driver, now Ray Cooper, and Notazio has to defend against an Honda. The Audi is a bit slow on cold tires, so it's the perfect moment for the Red King Motorsport to make an attack on the Italian. There's been a contact between Wilk and Spallino. 180 and 21 is quite clear here. Something has happened between the Italian job car that goes completely sideways and onto the wall. That's a destroyed car. That's a completely demolished car. The 180 is really trying their best to make it. No, I want to see it back. It was an odd incident. You can see he loses the rear, gets stopped, and goes 200 km per hour into the wall with suspension damage and everything in between. The car is basically keeping itself. Oh, Notazio! That's a stop and go penalty! That's a stop and go penalty! for car number 4. So stopping of 30 because of pit lane infringements. So simply going too fast. And that's a stopping of 30. So the 4 has its run completely destroyed by this mistake. So this leaves Cooper with the only battle being in front of him. 1.9 seconds, but still in front of him. Now 2.2. But it's going to be interesting to see how Horvath's teammate is going to have the race, because obviously different drivers means different skill set. So we may see the 80 going slower because of a different driver, and there is also the fact that they need to get used to the car, while Ray Cooper was already used to the car. That's Ray Cooper. Then nearly sent it into the barrier. Also, a lot of things can change. Simply a driver being a bit more slow into getting used to the car. So that's why I'm usually not single stinting. Also because I can't single stint, otherwise I lose 10 seconds. But many drivers are more fresh, so they may go faster with a single stint, or they may go faster instantly. There are different approaches to any driver. In this case, I think Kalani is having a bit of a difficultiness to find the pace. As you can see now, the second of difference. Before it was 2.5. But it may as well be just a simple skill set difference. Having a team that has basically the same speed, it's possibly the best thing to do and to have, because you are all equal. There isn't one that is having all the pressure of going fast, and so it's more prompted to make a mistake. You don't have the one that is maybe slower, then he wants to overshot and then he makes a mistake. If you have an equilibrated team, you will have a great time running, even more if the setup can be the same for all of them, which is not really something that happens so much. Most of the time you are maybe going for a compromise for a setup. Well, if you have a team that has the same needs, it's way easier to make a setup, to go faster, and etc, 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 etc. Oh, there has been a contact. Do contact. Okay, the one that is definitely had a contact with a 75, which we will not see. Okay, apparently there is no contact. There's no. Then there has been a 369 and a 34 that have been involved in a contact. Yes, there's definitely some contact, but I don't think nothing too extreme. Ray Cooper, while we were looking at him, he made his personal team best, 48.7, while Lani is definitely not slow, but it's slower, 49.2 for the Hungarian driver. And there's been another penalty being enforced. Car 253 leaves the track and enters the track unsafely. 5 seconds penalty. No, lenient. 5 second penalty in 1 point, so I think it's lenient. I think it's one of those penalties that are suspended. So like if you do another thing, you will have the penalty. So there's only a way to check it. 251. You don't. Can't find him. Is it a wrong number? Ah, 253, because I can't read anymore. It's Ray Cooper we are talking about also. And there is only a way to see it. Yes, it is what I thought it was. It was. So it's there. but it will be applied only if another penalty will appear. So for now the 5 seconds penalty is not being enforced, while a 15 seconds penalty to a car 8 is enforced. 15 seconds penalty to car number 8, I suspect for the obvious reason, so trying to fight with 253, as, speaking of which, he makes the overtake and he makes a bit of a lunge, and he tries to go for another racing line, but the 253 will have to stay behind the 80. He overshoot the braking. This meant that position has been gained and lost in a single moment. Obviously in the slipstream it's a bit more difficult to make correct choices. A bit of rear loss of control, so I think I want to go here this time. Because there is a single second of difference between two drivers. And Paladino is with yellow flags somewhere. So white flag being shown. Oh, there's been a contact there with lowering. There's been a contact with lowering. 52 and 183. There's also been a contact between the 8 and the 40. What has happened here? So the 8 not really finding himself in the correct place, trying to not really sure what at this point. I'll be honest, I'm not really sure what was happening there. I want to see back at the incident there, because it's the 52. Oh, the 52 lost the rear, and unfortunately collected the 152, the 183 into the wall. So, I guess the 52 another time being involved in an incident of some kind. But I'm very, I don't know what happened to the 8. And in fact they are not in the lobby anymore. No, they are here, Matteo Capogreco, but it was odd. Not really sure. But anyway, we'll go back here because Ray Cooper and the 253 is now very close to the car in front. It seems like Lani is slower, but not that much. Just that Ray Cooper is faster, and not by much. So at this point it's just a question of if and when the overtake will happen, because I can't say for certain it's a when at this point. They are lapping very close together, but I really think that a single straight line will possibly make the situation evolve slightly more, while Blake is finding himself in the middle of the way of the battle here at the, and the problem has been against the Ascari curb. Huge contact with Aston Martin, for the Aston Martin driver. Now finds himself in 15 with some front-end damage. That's not Cooper, that's Cooper. So, all situation there, while the same moment it is possibly Cooper, maybe not this time, not again. Again, you can see the time is way more towards Cooper's side. 49.4 for Lani, 48.997, so 49.0 flat for Cooper. As now I think the Honda wants to make the overtake in a different place into chicane number 2, and it happens. It happens without further ado. So Ray Cooper overtakes the GTR Master for 6th place, sorry. 6th place. But I think the fight may still be ongoing. With, you can see that the BMW is just showing himself. Maybe at this point, the straight line advantage that the Honda had may go into the BMW's side, which is likely possible. They have 18 seconds of difference in front and 27 behind, so they can fight as much as they want. It has to be said that there is still 3 hours to go. So plenty of time to make positions and gap lower. Cooper has lapped in 49.1, so even with the overtake, it's an extraordinary lap. While Lani lapped at 50.0, so it seems like they've been slower down a bit more from the overtake that has taken place. You know, it's quite interesting to see that Marco Chedi is taking the advantage that was there, 25 seconds, and it has been lower than lower as the time passed. So it's now 49.2, the lap being set by the Swiss driver, with a 50 by Celia, and a 10 lap in 50.2. So Katie is really putting the white and orange and red and blue car and black and all the cars in between in a very nice position for now. The 18 seconds of difference is the gap between the leader and the Swiss, with the 52 again being involved in the incident, with again the 125. Seems like they are some names that are quite frequent. You can see that there is a Porsche going in another place. Not really sure what was happening there. I think it was Karner going completely off. And in fact, there has been a contact. The 936 and the 200. I think it's just a race control going crazy. And in fact, you can see that taking evasive action for the problem that was happening in front. You know, here it's Christoph Sekalla in the 203 Mission Spino orange car. As I'm hearing some gravel. That is possibly trying the overtake on the number 7. James Williams in 23rd place for the FRL team. I don't think Christoph Zekala will have a difficult time making it. He goes on the inside, over brakes, and makes the position in the span of a single corner. So we'll go back here because Cooper is not running away. They are lapping phenomenally into... Phenomenally. I can't speak anymore. In 48.8 and 48.7, so astonishing lap. So apparently the 80 is really using the speed advantage of the Honda in front of him to make some gap, and not only some gap, it's a position of all together. You can see the Porsche in the middle with Lani on the left of your screen, maybe making the position even before Parabolica, but I think Ray Cooper wants to fight back. The situation is indeed, you can see from the right of your screen, it's the Honda passing by, and the BMW is a bit slower on the straight, so fast to get back into the slipstream, quick to make back into the slipstream, and at this point it's all to be made again. For the first time there was a chance to make it back, to make the position back, but unfortunately it's all to make back from the start, from the scratch. As in front, it's been odd to see some basically copy machines in front. lapping 49.5, 48 high. It's all around there. While this duo here is massively slowing down for the fight that they were having. And for the lap car, they unfortunately are just there. And oh, Ratian is off! No, yellow flags being shown. Not really sure why. I'm not seeing any mistake. Not even the lap. The lap also was faster, 48.4. So not entirely sure what was the problem. I hope it's not lag. But anyway, you can see behind it's the 250 and the 183 making battle with Aston Martin in Belenov's hands, overtaking the Italian Paladino and making the 13th place, while a lap earlier, a lap in front, it is Thomas Lani still looking at the rear, the flu rear from the Honda in front, taking Motorsport. This point is purely a chase, even if Cooper is slightly faster in this setup. Usually the car in front has a worse time with backmarkers, because the backmarker gets overtaken by one and then the second one follows by. So being the lead of the two not really means going faster. You can see, as in this situation here, it was the Honda having a bit of a harder time compared to the BMW behind that was just going through without any trouble. And this battle here has been, for now, the main one of the stint, as every stint gives a battle. This one here has been the main one. For the past minutes. You can see how the situation there is okay. You can see a change of something. Something has been changed from the driver. So I'm not really sure what Lani has changed, but something has been edited in his setup. Maybe a traction control setup. Oh, more contact between the 3 and the 253. GT4 against GT3 action. This unfortunately left Cooper a bit there, standing by and trying to understand where to go safely. And this put effectively Lani behind Cooper by a couple of tenths more than what was earlier on. It's 1.5 the gap, no, 1.2 the gap between Lani and Cooper. That Cooper is finding a hard time overtaking the leader, I think it is, in GT4 class. It is in fact the leader. It is Aku Pitkainen, GT4 leader, since the Porsche that was leading exploded. Not really sure why. For now the situation is quite stable, even in terms of gaps. Looking even in front, it is a bit odd to see that Celia is having some difficulties. Speaking of which, the last time has been 50.4, 2 seconds lower than Marco Cady did, the same exact scenario, and 1.5 seconds slower. Possibly it's been just a lapped car, but I've been noticing that the lap times haven't been the best ones from the current leader. Obviously I say this, but I'm taking as a comparison tool their best lap, 47.9. Not saying they are slower, absolutely no. something that's absolutely out of discussion. They're not slow. They're just slower than themselves. Which, as a driver, I promise you, it's frustrating. Even if you are fast, it's not enough. That kind of things. Oh, 183. Taking a secondary racing line for some reasons. Doesn't seem to be any contact. Not that I'm aware of, at least. But now there is a little fight ongoing for 20th place, with the number 8 being overtaken by the 52 into Ascari. Oh, again, a yellow flag is the same. Oh, that's this time it's a bit more, I think. Seeing the Lamborghini there sitting, what has happened? So, second chicane. Oh, that's the rear. That's the rear going off. They are facing the wrong direction. Not only the wrong direction, completely wrong everything. And the Lamborghini number 183 has now massive front end damage to his car. And is now... is it the leader? It was indeed the leader. It has lapped in 50.5. Obviously the second has said it. It's Marco Kedi that went slower this time, 51.0. Ratani 48.8, Stakeki 48.6, 49.4 by Volkov, 48.6. That's definitely a good lap. 49.0, so I think the battle for 6th place is effectively over. 49.4 for Aleman in the Mission Spino car. Number 4 Flat Out Sim Racing. 50.2, just being lapped by the 40 Eclipse Racing Esports, with Wick following behind in a 51.1 for the Raccoons. And there is the 128. The 128 drove by Luke Barnard in the final drive sim racing. With again the 183. Oh no, this time he's going to the pits to repair the car. The situation in GT4 is still the same, with the leader being still the Finnish driver, 728. Mercedes with the number 3 just following behind, and Gergely the 200. So seems like a Mercedes lockup in GT4. Now 22 and the 212 Mission Spino car having a bit of a fight there. That's for 28th place, with Williamson making it for the Raccoons over the Mission Spino BMW. While here Marco Barbieri again, he is going to appear into Barnard's mirrors, because it's clear that an overtake may happen in the next upcoming minutes. 49.4 has been the lap for the Italian driver, 51.3 by the British. Is it British? Okay, yes. So, definitely a difference in speed and pace. And that will be for the 11th place. So definitely not something to throw away and to say it's junk. It's definitely a position of huge importance. Basically, many drivers improved their position. It's quite astonishing to see the 141 Crazy Life gaining 8 positions since the start of the race, with 13 being gained by the Ferrari, just here in 11th. Then 12, I'm seeing 15 by Blake for the Raccoons. But we also have some losses. There is the 52 that has lost 13, the number 8 that has lost 12, 10 for Benjamin Eck and his lineup. Unfortunately, because Benjamin Eck result was prior to his is leaving from the car. It was phenomenal pace, top 5. It was basically a top 5 progression until that moment, and looking at the time, even now, they seem to be doing it. Meanwhile, there is the Ferrari there, Barnard going definitely not the correct way, and I think that, no, okay, I thought so, but Parenzi Barbieri is still behind the Ferrari for at least a tiny bit, side by side, and Barbieri makes the position on the Ferrari after the loss of raw speed. Still defending the inside, but I think at this point is a bit of old matter. While just behind, so in front, while being behind, it's a bit difficult. Couple of tens of meters behind, Lani and Cooper are back into fighting for 6th place after a slow lap being set by the Honda driver. Well, Lani seems to be back in a very optimal form of racing. Meanwhile, the gap in front, that was, remember that when I said that in 40 seconds there were just 3 drivers, now there is 4 drivers, and in just 15 there is 2 drivers. Currently, Ceglia is going a bit slower than what his teammates have been able to do so until now, and I think the other drivers have to understand that Ceglia is the slowest of the 3, and slowest is a bit of a overstatement, because slowest in comparison, because it's an astonishing pace, even that, but it's the only occasion they have to make it. So it's 2 hours of time where the slowest driver will have the wheel. In a freeway team, it's a bit this matter here goes a bit under the carpet, because 1 driver is not enough to ruin your team out of 3. If it's 1 out of 2, it's a bit of a different thing, like 1 is good, 1 is not. It's a bit odd, but in this case it's obviously the team that matters, and up until this point they've been phenomenal, and they still have 14 seconds of gap, so definitely not something too much to worry about. I'm quite curious to see, though, what the pace will be after 3 hours, because we are about to get there into the middle ground in 20 minutes, and for now it's been an odd race. It's not been the usual Monza, it's been way more calm in a certain way. And oh, number 5 has there's been a contact incident, something there. Not really seeing anything. Can I see from the interior? Seems like he was in the middle of a battle. Oh, that's a huge crash between him and I have no clue who that was. It was an Aston Martin. So front end damage. Huge front end damage for Marco Chedi, that has made contact with. Why is not showing it? 151. So it was the 151 and number 3 making contact. You can see here from a second view. You can see it is. Oh, they made contact with GT4 in front and then made further contact with the car that is in second place, but now having huge damage to the front of the car. So number 5, that will have to repair the car. I suspect 15 seconds of damage, which is a lot, considering they have Ratiani just 8 and Stakeki 9, Stakeki 15 away. No, it's 20 basically. 18. Let's make it. More or less. So it's a huge one for the lead of the race. So now at this point, Celia is basically looking at the paradise. As the number 80 seems like number 80 is back to the pace they were having. The last lap, not this one here, because of a back marker. The last one that was clean was a 48.8. It was very fast. There is a 420 in the middle of the way. With a 440 managing to avoid it, and multiple cars being involved. So the 420 now in a terrible situation. What has exactly happened here? You can see. I think I went too much behind. Yes, I definitely went too much behind. And please let me get back here. So he loses the rear, collects the front, goes in the middle of the way. There is a BMW crashing with them. And there is the 40 going left, and the BMW behind it is the number 100, I think that was. Unfortunately, making further contact with the 420 now with massive damage to his car. So Rafif Prastia for the Bego Racing Division now in a very difficult place and moment with major damage to the car. Will now go into the pits. Meanwhile, Wilk is very close to make the overtake on the Notazio in number 4. But apparently it doesn't happen. I'm not really sure that the car was that made contact. It was William Racing at 71. The 71 making huge contact. You can see the car being damaged. It was 71. Scuderia Fantozzi being involved with the 420 and thus having massive damage to the car. At this point I think a repair is mandatory. So in a couple of minutes everything that I said about Monza went. I should shut up. Why do I keep talking? Huh? Why do I keep saying things when I shouldn't, clearly? The 149 made contact with the 187. You can see that. Oh, there is the 187 being gifted a one-way ticket to the void by the BMW lineup. Now with some damage to the front of the car. It is still Lani that is trying their best, but Cooper is making the best. 48.4. Astonishing lap being set by the British driver. It is now being stopped by the back markers, and this gives Lani. It's astonishing how. Okay, honestly, in this situation he's very lucky, because the second Cooper was finally having it, a back marker showed up and put back the gap to 3 tenths. So again, it's a battle. It's the same battle back on going. But you can see 49.9 being set by Cooper, 49.2, so 7 tenths being gained back, just because lap car were there. It's not really their fault. It's also behind a very nice battle ongoing between Aria, Barrucco and Williamson. Just 5 tenths of difference of gap. There are 3 cars. I can't count anymore. And you can clearly see here there is Aston Martin with possibly some rear and front damage, protecting their way from the Italian job Lamborghini after the incident they have in second chicane. So I think the Lamborghini is just faster at this point. In fact, they go into the inside and make the overtake on the Aston Martin, that also gets overtaken by the Raccoons Aston Martin, number 22. So double overtake being applied there. The situation here, you can see a bit in the distance, but 1 second away there is the Honda, again being blocked by some drivers. So Lani is quite lucky in this matter. Obviously back markers give back markers take out. So I don't think it will pass much time before we see the 80 being blocked by some back markers. So there is some gap. There's been some contact between 365 and 100 again. And the reason is, you can see the 365 making contact with 100 into Ascari. And there's been some other contact, which I think it's a bit difficult here, but it's showing me there is some contact between the 420 and the 230. That's some lag, I think. It's possible. It's possible there is some lag. Aleman 202 mission winner has made the team best lap in this very lap. 48.8, a very nice lap, to say the least. Definitely a very nice one. So we are 12 minutes away from the middle zone ground. As you can see, 212 making an overtake on the number 151, and the Mission Spino is now in 26th place, very close to the car in front, which is our American driver lineup. Here the Mercedes clearly has the upper hand. While just be a couple of seconds behind, but 10 seconds in front, there is Benjamin Eck making another position. He is lapping astonishingly good and kinda carrying his team. 49.2 was the last lap being set by Benjamin Eck, so basically he's lapping the same lap time being made by the top 5, top 6 even, 7, 8. Okay, it's a very top 8. But basically the same lap time made by him has been made by the first 3 cars. Apologies. So Marco Caddy even... Can I speak? Okay. So Marco Caddy even after... Okay, apparently no. I promise I'm alive. That's okay. Back again. So basically, as I was saying, I can't remember anymore. Ah, yeah. Marco Caddy, even after the damage he encountered, it doesn't seem to be that much impactful. 49.0 has been the last lap. So Marco Caddy is still going very quick, even if the damage is clearly there. It's clearly there. 7 times of gap is now the difference between the two drivers in this very same fight that has been ongoing, while there is a Mercedes there being passed. I think that's car number 3 drove by Fernandez. see into is a very nice purple livery for the vacuum racing. So for now the situation is as it is, with Michele Ceglia still leading, 16 seconds of gap between him and Marco Chedi, with some damage on his car that will possibly be repaired. Ilya Ratiani, oh, the 18, Indascari, oh, making contact with another car. That was the 22, Daniel Williamson, making contact with the car in front of him. Oh no, that's I think the 22 making contact with the 18. And then finding said 18 just in front of him. Domenico Bilotti. Definitely not the usual Canadian name. And the 128 also being... Oh, that's a crash. Oh, that's definitely a crash, a huge one too. With the number 3. It was the number 3 we were talking earlier on. So you can see there was some contact with a Ferrari. It has been launched off. I want to see from here because I think he made contact with another car. So number 3 makes contact with number 3. That's 100. That's number 100 being involved in the incident too. Number 100 being in 35th place. And the car number 3 that is still in 3rd place, but with huge damage on the front of his car. So the podium in class is risking a terrible downgrade from 3rd in class to, I'm not entirely sure how it could devolve. Certainly it's not going to evolve. So for now, Petikainen still in the lead in class with Sergio in 2nd, and at this point I'm not really sure who is in 3rd. While the 7 is finding himself not in the correct spot. Correct hill, with damage not being repaired. Oh no, it's a visual glitch. Or more damage. Both are possible scenarios. Ah no, okay, now it's been not repaired. I'm not really sure. Because I think that whichever thing I say is going to be the wrong one. It's Schaber and Barucco fighting for 23rd. Both drivers running for very important teams, Italian Job and Mission Spino. It's very nice to see the NASCAR kind of layout on the roof. For now I think Barucco has a chance to make it into 23rd, and it is in fact the situation. As said, so Barucco is in 23rd place with Schaber that has to follow behind. As number 8 goes into the pits, someone there was absolutely not happy about my decision. So for now it has been a very nice race. Belenogov is very close to Barnard. However, Barnard is the car that has been spinned. Not really sure how to say it. I'm really curious about how much damage there is on that car. And I think the answer is yes. It is on the rear. Luckily it's Monza, so it's not like the rear is massively important. But still, you need it. Otherwise, you crash. It's not really the best thing to do. As Vitamin overtakes Bilotti in number 18. Vinek, a very nice, a very fast driver in my opinion, that deserves a couple of spots more, because 15th is not the correct one. He is definitely faster. and he has been showing it clearly in the very early stages of the race. He's now finding himself in a bit of a sandwich between Rai Cooper and Thomas Alani. So...
Afternoon.
Oh, hola.
Hola. How has your day been going?
Shouting a lot.
Yeah, I can tell by your voice.
My voice is gone.
Well...
Oh, major crash!
Oh, yes.
The second I was saying it, it is... I think... I'm not entirely sure who that was. There are multiple cars being involved. One of them is Benjamin Eck himself.
Yeah, and it looked like the SimZone car as well.
Yes, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it's number 8 is there. So the 212 was in the middle of the way. The 8 stopped by. And then it was... I think it was a Porsche tapping the Lamborghini behind. But anyway... So that's your fault. So
Yeah, obviously. Standard.
where is the throat? What is the voice?
My voice is going, so the prospect of 3 hours of commentating is going to be fantastic. I might sound a little bit worse than you by the end of things, but oh wait, there more off. There was a yellow car. Bruno Aya, I think, went off in car number 151, which I just saw in the background.
Oh yeah.
They're currently distributing themselves across the exit of Lesmo 2, which is nice of them. But you've got the prospect of driving. I've got the prospect of 3 hours of commentating. So hopefully you've enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Honestly, it's Monza, so okay.
Right, enjoy. I will.
It's Monza, so it's usually the racing here is for the show. It works. Not as a driver. As a driver, I hate this track.
Well, I've done 2 hours of driving and I really enjoyed it. Apart from I can't feel my right hand at the moment.
I saw you had damage.
Yes, I saw that I had damage. I got a bit excited because I made it up to 19th, and then on the exit of Ascari, I decided to go visit a wall.
Yes, unfortunately, nothing goes off my eye. So every single yellow flag is being taken into account, to say the least.
Well, they're going to be the watchers are going to be very disappointed when I miss 90% of the
No, no, I just
right.
hope to survive for the last 2 hours. That's it.
Yes.
So tell me when you are going to switch the stream.
I am ready. You tell me when you've stopped.
And I stopped now.